Yeah. Wait. Send over.
Roger, we got air coming in from the east side on my location. Break.
Yeah. Wait. Roger that.
There's some places to hide, but you can't blend in with much out here.
Incoming. Then we get.
Brave.
There we go. There's the boom. Whistle should be in a second there.
That motherfucker right there. Sit.
All call signs. Impact 100 metres from the ECP. I say again, 100 metres from the ECP. Hold your rifle a second. Excuse me, buddy. Can I just get in there a second?
I didn't even think about fucking grabbing a ACOG. Dumbass. Well, I mean, you can't blame them.
They're used to it.
Yeah,
20, 30 years. Good morning folks, and welcome to my first day's training for Lucky2bhere's half marathon in Afghanistan. Well everybody, that's the first day's training for Lucky2bhere's half marathon in Afghanistan over, and I'm absolutely dangling. Now for those of you who don't know what dangling means, it means I'm really tired. And part of the reason for this is because of the equipment I've got to carry when I train. Firstly, my ops vest. In here we have my radio, 3 magazines for my rifle, trusty old Mr. Silver compass, and a bulletproof Kevlar plate. On top of that, I've got my grab bag, which has got all the rest of my goodies inside. Firstly, a secondary weapon, pistol, spare magazine for him, first aid kit, some combat gauze for blocking open wounds and heavy bleeding, more first aid kit and a survival kit, a cat tourniquet, plastic cuffs in case I catch anyone inside our camp and I need to arrest them, mobile phone in case the radio breaks down, torch, spare batteries, ear defenders, and my knife. And that completes my grab bag. Also in that is my GPS, so I can check my location. And good old trusty AK-47 and magazine. Now, first day's training's done, and I've accumulated the massive amount of 3 miles. And you may be thinking, well, that's not a lot. But when you carry this equipment up and down these hills in Afghanistan, which is almost like running up down the Cooling Hills, up in Skye, it changes the situation slightly. And you may be wondering why I'm carrying all this. Well, because even though I'm in a secure camp, there is still a threat level. So we have to carry this equipment at all times in case a threat arises. So until they get the treadmill fixed in the gym, this will be my training package from now on. So fingers crossed it gets fixed soon. So, location where we are, Afghanistan, as I said before, on the Pakistan border. I'm Colonel, before you get any ideas of asking me just to nip across the border and do a Lucky2bhere half marathon in Pakistan, you can forget it. And that changes our training situation slightly for two reasons. One's the heat, and two is the altitude. Firstly, the heat. At the moment it's now 27 in the morning and it's already over 35 degrees. We're slightly overcast, so it's normally a bit hotter. And two, the altitude. At the moment we're at 6,889 foot. Don't know if you can see that on the GPS. What the altitude does is, obviously the higher you are, the thinner the air is. So local population running up and down these hills are fine, they're used to it. However, we come from an area in Scotland where our height levels are under 1,000 foot or just above 1,000 foot, so the air is a lot thicker, which means you get a lot more oxygen. So when you run up the top of the hills here with no oxygen, obviously means no breath. So it's hard going, and that's why you can only accumulate a short distance in a long period of time. So that in 8 weeks' time, when you eventually do the half marathon, fingers crossed, they'll have the treadmill done and fixed and I'll be able to do it on there. We'll be fit as it possibly can be with the heat and the altitude, because it adds a certain different flavour to the mix. So in closing, two things I've learnt so far about training in Afghanistan is, one, you must have lots and lots of water, because you get dry and thirsty within the first couple hundred metres, and after a mile or so, you're basically dehydrated. And two, and most importantly, so pin your ears back and listen in, ladies and germs, is never, ever, ever ask Donnie Nick how Lucky2bhere is going in the Tongadale Hotel when you've had a few drinks, or you'll end up doing something stupid like me.